dancing to the beat as we come in on the rundown on A2DRadio.com. Good afternoon, everybody. It's cold out. Not quite as cold as it was last week. Little bit warmer, but it still feels like winter. Of course, I'm Zach Barr. We got Ralph Delavecchio, Sean Watson. Noah Eaton from the Philly Sports Fix is joining the party today.
All right.
Gonna go 4 deep. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah, we're gonna try, and we got a lot to talk about. Just as we went off the air last week, guys. About 3 hours or so after we go off the air, we get this bombshell. We spent the whole show talking about our head coaching search and who we want to be the next guy to focus on, who's going to be our guy going forward, and then all that can kind of just flush it right down the toilet, right? Because now a bombshell happens out in Tampa Bay, and they decide, I still don't understand why, but they decide that they want to fire Lovie Smith.
I don't know what the reason was anyway.
Well, I got a really, really crazy report right here, fellas.
Well, hold on to that 1 second, okay? We're live in the Kingsgate Realty Studios, as always. And if you're interested in buying, selling, or renting a house, go to Kingsgate Realty at 57 West Kings Highway in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey, and call them at 856-931-1200. That's how you get in touch with Patrick Bokikio. You can also email him at patbo@kingsgateре.com. Also, as always, sponsored and brought to you by Obie's Catering. Changing the world one dish at a time. You got to get in touch with Chris O'Brien. That's what he's trying to do. Just like us here, we're changing the world. We're changing the media world, right? He's trying to change the catering world one dish at a time. You got to call him at 856-534-8410. Email him cateringbyobie@yahoo.com. Tell him anybody here at a2dradio.com sent you. You get 20% off. He's got a new Facebook page, Catering by Obie, so make sure you check that out. Okay, now, Sean, you've got this breaking news.
NFL Insider. It's my NFL Insider.
3 minutes in. This is what we do. Not even 3 minutes into the
Ready
rundown,
for
and we're bringing you breaking news.
Doug Peterson will be named as Eagles head coach after the Chiefs are eliminated this week, 2 to 3 days after they are eliminated.
Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm dead serious.
And so this is official. And who is this?
This is an inside NFL.
Well, we're not going to say it's an inside source and then not put a name out there.
Listen, I hope it's not true.
Yeah.
I hope it's not true.
I want Tom Coughlin. That's who I want.
I hope that's not it.
Oh, okay.
I hope it's not true.
Our inside sources call it.
I hope it's not true. I hope this is wrong. Believe
listen,
me.
we went. Listen, this is perfect. Okay?
I hope someone brings Peterson in.
This is perfect. I hope somebody brings him in here so I can beat him in the head with a tire iron. Okay.
Yeah.
Just smash his face in.
I don't like the move. I like Tom Coughlin a lot. I really do like Tom Coughlin.
Listen, we went over this last week, right? I like anybody who's got a proven track record in this league.
And that's Tom Coughlin.
Okay, Tom Coughlin's got a proven track record. Lovie Smith. We talked about Chuck Pagano before the Colts announced he was going to be back.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, we kicked around that idea. Sean, that was your dream scenario. I wanted Steve Spagnuolo, and I still don't have any idea why he hasn't even popped up on not even the Eagles' radar, but nobody's radar.
And the fact is how is Lovie Smith not on your checklist for a head coach?
Exactly. And now let's work towards that topic at hand here, because this is the important question. Should the Eagles hire Lovie Smith? And I actually last night went as far on the title when I was sending over, our whole, show rundown to Tom, and I said the title for the show that I wanted was Philadelphia Needs, and needs was in capital letters. Philadelphia needs Lovie Smith. Mm-hmm. That was the headline. And, I mean, I don't think, I think that says everything you need to know about it. Why do we need him? Well, let's run down his track record.
Okay, I'll start. All right, take his first year with the Bears, take that away, and take his last 2 years with Tampa Bay away, and he has an absolute winning record.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to a Super Bowl. He built that. He built that structure.
Rex Grossman.
Oh yeah, and look at the quarterback he had. I mean, come
Rex
on.
Grossman.
Don't make me laugh, Ralph.
Devin. Well, he also had he had Devin Hester. Come on, Devin Hester's second all time or first all time return.
He had Devin, and they had a phenomenal. Listen,
that defense was phenomenal.
But that was his defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those were the guys he put in place. Those were the guys he coached up, and they turned into a top 3 defense in football. And then on the other side of it, you got Rex Grossman playing quarterback, who's the most inconsistent mediocre bum in the history of
Yeah, he
quarterbacking in the end. He's even more mediocre and below average than Mark Sanchez.
I think he's
for
guys
God's
in
sakes.
the football league.
Grossman's worse than Tim Tebow,
He's
for God's
pretty
sake.
bad, and they go to a Super Bowl with him.
He couldn't hit the ocean from the beach.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's well, I mean, remember as Denny Green said that, the Bears are who we thought they were, and then when we went on to explain that's because Rex Grossman, he's inconsistent. They are who we thought they were. You take care of the offensive side, you make him make mistakes, you're going to win a game. And somehow Lovie Smith does such a phenomenal coaching job that year that he prevents Rex Grossman from costing them football game after football game after football game.
If that statement is true about Peterson, then I think the Eagles take a big step back. They're taking a big step back.
I mean, I know we're going back in time here, but what Smith had, I mean, of course he had all-pro level players on the defensive side of the ball. But as you mentioned, he had mediocre talent at best offensively. But what Lovie Smith teams did so well, they were opportunistic.
Yeah.
They created turnovers. They took advantage of the opposition's mistakes, and they had an excellent special team.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Devin Hester, I mean, at this point, arguably, when you look at the numbers and the return stats and all that, he could be the greatest return man in the
Ever.
history of football.
Yeah.
When you look at how many touchdowns he's run back, and so for me, it became a no-brainer when I heard Lovie Smith was on the market now, and all the Tampa Bay I thought had made a
Let's
huge
bring him in.
mistake.
Let's bring him in.
You brought in first of all, it didn't make any sense to me, the timing.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston's a rookie quarterback. You're in this whole rebuilding process, and then you pull the plug on the guy. It was
only been
rebuilding.
2
What
years.
was he going to win 10 games in a rebuilding year? No.
Well, we've seen, stud quarterbacks who have come out of college and have constantly had to change offenses. Now, some of it is their fault if it's a lack of production.
Yeah, I'm tired of the college coaches as well.
Yeah.
I want to be done with
No
that.
more college coaches for the city of
Doug
Philadelphia.
Peterson's a college coach, so I guess we're not finished with it.
I know.
Guys, it's proven that
He's a high school coach.
you give me a franchise that consistently changes their QB and coach, and I'll give you a franchise
That
who's
stinks.
consistently
Yeah.
picking in the top 5 of the
Listen,
draft.
I'll
love
give you
Tom
the Cleveland
Coughlin.
Browns.
I love Tom Coughlin as an Eagles head coach, and if that statement's true, then
I
I'm
want a
telling you,
coach.
the
Listen,
Eagles
I
are
want a
taking
coach that
big
won
step back.
before. Whatever. I don't
And
care.
Tom
who you bring.
Coughlin's
Yeah, I don't care if they bring in
that
Brian
coach.
Billick.
Yeah.
Bring in a coach that won before.
I want a
that
coach
built
that has
defense.
experience.
Yeah.
Has a lot of experience.
We're gonna spin back to all this in 1 minute here because, like I said, we're talking about Lovie Smith. The point of this whole show today, from our angle, is we want Lovie Smith as the head coach. You want Coughlin. I'm with guys like that, but this is the point. We're talking about this angle. And then 3 minutes in, we've got breaking news that Doug Peterson's going to be the guy.
3 days, 2 to 3 days after they are eliminated.
2 to 3 days. So
So
that's
if they're
already
not
been-
if they're not eliminated this week, if they somehow, some
a
way,
miracle.
a
Who
miracle
Who are they playing
happens.
against?
New England.
New
Yup.
England.
New England.
Yup.
They're pulling a miracle there.
Hey, if I was our team won in New England,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is playoff football in New England, and they
I
don't
know.
lose. To go along with this Lovie Smith angle, though, okay, we're going to continue to break down the Eagles because it's more than just the head coach. You've got a GM position at this moment that, depending on who you talk to, some say Lurie wants to just completely go, outside what's currently in the front office and find somebody new and bring them in. And then you've got people like me who are stuck on this idea that I don't buy into any of that. I think Jeffrey Lurie is known from the moment he fired Chip Kelly who his general manager was going to be, and it's a guy by the name of Howie Roseman.
Hey, Blues.
And this is my problem with that. If that's really the case, now this is what I'm fearing. Is Doug Peterson been named the head coach just because he's going to get along with Howie Roseman? Because let's remember who Howie Roseman is.
you know they have the same agent, right?
Howie Roseman. Well, there you go.
I want to tell you guys that
There
right now. I know that for a fact.
So let's start working on this conspiracy theory.
Okay, Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman both have the same agent. I'm just telling you, I know
and
that.
That makes sense because let's look at who Howie Roseman is. This is a guy that since he walked in to the NovaCare complex has not been able to get along with a single personality in that building.
No.
Okay? Just hasn't. And
Is Howie Roseman, is he the disease in the Eagles organization?
See, and that
I
and
think
that's
he
my
is.
And I
concern.
really hate to tell you this, fellas, and I know you. Listen, Zach, I know you really don't like this, but Joe Banner wasn't that bad. I know you're not a big fan of him. I'm just saying.
Joe Banner wasn't a cancer, but I told you my problem with Joe. I don't like Joe Banner to me is a boss. He's that type of boss that instead of giving you the phone call and saying, hey, listen,
text.
you're fired, he's just going to text you and say, hey, don't bother showing up to work tomorrow, you're fired. No, I can't have you running my organization when that's how you fire people. That's just no good. But he's at least, he's a decent, football guy as far as when he's running your operations. I just think Roseman's an idiot.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, with
Marcus Smith.
look, with Banner, he was known as a cap guy. He went strictly by the numbers. Now, granted, for the most part, that worked out very well. Yeah. For the most part, that brought a lot of success to the Andy Reid era, especially in the first 5 to 7 years or so, with the exception, of course, of no Super Bowl ring. And I would say that when you look at a lot of Banner's moves, the only guy that he let go a little too early maybe was Brian Dawkins.
Yeah.
Oh,
other than that, who we're still looking for.
He was a first-team All-Pro.
We're still looking for his replacement at safety.
And honestly, I think Brian Dawkins still could play in this league.
T.O. still thinks he could play in this league.
Yeah.
So, maybe, and I'm sure Brian Dawkins probably thinks so, too. At least a little bit. He thinks he could be somebody's backup, whatever. Right. But we're going to get into that a little bit later with the Roseman conversation because there's a lot to talk about there because that makes you want to beat your head into a wall just as bad as hiring Doug Peterson as your head coach. But you've also got other breaking news that just broke last night around the NFL involving relocation, and the St. Louis Rams are now officially going to become the Los Angeles Rams. And depending on who you talk to, you got people that listen, we knew that an NFL team was going to end up in Los Angeles, but this is the funny thing to me about it. And I brought this up a couple weeks ago to both of you guys. I honestly didn't think it would be the Rams. I thought it would end up being the Chargers and the Raiders for this reason. The Rams had a $1.2 billion stadium agreement in place where they were going to put and build a brand new stadium right on the riverfront, right there in downtown St. Louis. It's going to be beautiful. And instead, the NFL decided to be some money-grubbing whores and go run to the West Coast and say, you know what, we don't care about any of that. We just want money and we see green, which is what Roger Goodell's been his MO since he entered as commissioner. Right. So it doesn't surprise me. But I just think it's the wrong team.
But honestly, in my mind, I don't think St. Louis is a football town. I don't think it was a football town. It always will be a baseball town.
They won a Super Bowl in the early 2000s.
But Ralph
they won. They also won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay.
Still.
Ralph makes a good point.
I know.
Because I disagree with them not being because the St. Louis Cardinals were there for a long time.
Exactly.
The football St. Louis Cardinals were there for a long time before they moved to Arizona.
Right.
And then the Rams came shortly after they left L.A. But I will agree with this aspect of it. The St. Louis baseball Cardinals are number one out there.
Yeah.
That is like they consider themselves to be like baseball town USA out there. And no matter what football team comes, no matter how much success that football team has, it's always going to be second fiddle to the baseball team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go through every NFL team's move, but let's face, in terms of franchise relocation, let's face it, franchise relocation has always been a part of the NFL.
Yeah.
Put yourself
for good, bad, and indifferent.
It has been.
And yes, some fans have been left out in the cold.
But this is what we're going. When we talk about this a little bit later, this is what I want to get into with this because Noah, you're right. And, I mean, obviously, it's been a part of the game forever and ever.
I mean, you had the Chicago Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals, and now the Arizona Cardinals.
Put yourself in their position.
You had the Cleveland Rams, the L.A. Rams, the St. Louis Rams, and now the L.A. Rams again.
But to the point you're making, and to the point I'm making, see, when teams moved before, you had situations where a team moved before, I can't get a stadium deal, lack of fan support.
Right.
There's certain reasons you maybe move a franchise, you know what I mean, that are acceptable. It's like, hey, it just makes sense.
Well, a lot of it's for the almighty dollar. That's why Art Modell moved the Browns to Baltimore.
But what was
that was overnight, by the way.
Right. But what was the overall? The reason for that is he wanted a new stadium in Cleveland.
Right.
They weren't going to give it to him at the time, so he just played hardball, packed everything up midnight, and said, hey, we're going to head out. It still had to do with the stadium issue. This is an issue where, like I said, the city of St. Louis approved a $1.2 billion stadium deal to build them a brand new stadium.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything other than Roger Goodell wanting to be a money-grabbing whore and run to where the green.
But let's talk about that. Put yourself in the fans, in the St. Louis fans, the football fans' mind. Can you imagine if Jerry Lurie packed this stuff up? I mean, Jeffrey Lurie is from California. Yeah. So if Jeffrey Lurie just goes and packs the Eagles up and say, I'm going to move in a new stadium over there, guess what, fellas? Yeah. This city will burn down.
That's a good point. And this listen, this is a great preview for what we're going to talk about later. It really is. We're really teasing this well. But Noah, you'll know what I'm talking about here. You'll know what I'm talking about better than anybody in this room because you lived through it. I can't remember if it was Bremen or who the owner was before Lurie. But he was getting his hair cut in downtown downtown Philadelphia, and a rumor had come out that he was going to move the Eagles to Phoenix.
88, right?
It might have been 88,
that was
late
your I was
80s,
born.
and they were going to move him to Arizona. And the Eagles fans showed up at the barber shop where he was getting his haircut and said, "I got a haircut right here for you. Make your way out here." And as quick as that idea came about to move him out to Phoenix is as quick as it got flushed down the toilet.
The Eagles will never move because
don't ever say never. Please don't
ever
say never.
Don't
ever say never.
It was getting to that point where it might have been a possibility. Then Lurie was supposed to be the guy that was saving football in Philadelphia, and Noah remembers that too when he came in with deep pockets and bought this team in 1996, and it was supposed to be the thing that was going to – we don't have to worry about that ever going forward. The vet's a piece of crap, but that's going to be taken care of.
He not close enough, but he bought the team in '94. Correct? They fired Rich Kotite. They hired Ray Rhodes, and then they started embarking on the journey of, finding out when the team lease at the vet was up, and of course they were making plans to move on and build what became known as Lincoln Financial Field, and even that was controversial. Every stadium and every new stadium that gets built in any city, big, small, indifferent, I don't care. The bottom line is there's always the fight over how much taxpayer money is going to be contributed towards the stadium. It's all about the almighty dollar. And, of course, you even had diehard Eagle fans who obviously would be devastated if the team were to ever leave. They would even say, well, our public school system's in a shambles. We got
But there's always going to be that side of the argument.
There's always going to be
somebody
a side
in the Philadelphia market that's trying to.
Why do these millionaires and billionaires need yet another
there's more
new
important
playpen?
things for us to spend money on.
Jeffrey Lurie would be in trouble big time. They would put a bounty on his head if he ever decided to do that. Trust me.
Yeah.
I don't think the Eagles will ever move.
Well, thankfully, Bill Bedwell decided to screw over the city of St. Louis and move the Cardinals, and they played their first season in Phoenix in '88.
Did anybody hear the mayor of St. Louis in his little press conference? It was all over SportsCenter earlier live. He was taking shots at the NFL. I mean, it seems like there's a relationship like it. It's not like when the St. Louis Cardinals initially left and went to Phoenix, and 7 years later the Rams or whatever are now back in. I really would be. I'm not going to be surprised if we go 20 years, something like that. Like Los Angeles had to wait 20 years for an NFL team. It might be 20 plus years before that market of St. Louis ever gets another NFL team.
Yeah.
They are so pissed at the way this is going down. I feel like Goodell, Roger Goodell, and Kroenke
all because it's a new Jerry World Stadium.
It's a phenomenal looking stadium. I'm just saying. I mean, if I was Stan Kroenke and how about the money that this dude has? He's going to pay for it all out of his own pocket. How deep are your pockets where you can afford $2.6 billion?
That's maybe embellished. I know it was
$550 million for the relocation fee, plus it's already a $1.7 billion stadium. So you add on the $550 million.
Yeah, how are the Chargers
Let's
not
just say
going
I would not want to be a resident of Carson, California.
But listen,
my taxes will probably go up significantly.
How are the San Diego Chargers not going?
Well,
I mean,
they've got an option.
But every single game. I mean, they don't have home games, fellas.
Let's pick this up on the other side of the break.
There's probably more Cleveland Browns fans going to their games.
Let's pick this up on the other side of the break. We've done a real good job of teasing everything as we come in. We're also going to talk college football playoff a little bit later because, I mean, geez, with everything going on this weekend, there was a lot. But, I mean, if you didn't watch that national championship game, you should have, and you need to go back and watch it. You're in for a treat. Deshaun Watson. Hey, I'm not
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, your long-lost family member over here. This kid's going to be a superstar, and we definitely got to talk about it. And got to talk about Nick Saban a little bit.
By the way, we're going to draft him next year. Deshaun
I hope
Watson.
so.
Just because he's going to go straight up my old man's butt right now. That's all I can tell you.
I hope so. Mike Mataraki and Tom and Mike, AM and the PM later, are going to be talking about Nick Saban, where he ranks in college football history as a head coach. So that's all going to we'll move that into the college football playoff conversation a little bit too to tease what they're going to talk about later. All that's going to be on the other side of the break. This is the Rundown on A2DRadio.com. We're sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Go to 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Call 856-939-2030. Email sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website, sportsoutletinc.com.
You're listening to the worldwide leader of Real Talk, A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by Romeo's Termite and Pest Control. Family owned and operated, Romeo's only employs the safest, most effective methods to rectify your situation. Whether it's at your house or at your commercial residence, no matter what the concern may be, they'll get the job done. Raccoons, squirrels, bed bugs, termites, you name it, they'll take care of it. Satisfaction guaranteed. Give them a call at 856-341-3927 or look them up on Facebook at Romeo's Pest Control or visit their website at www.romeospestcontrol.com, your local pest control provider. A2DRadio.com is sponsored by Martino Roofing. With more than 15 years of roofing experience, they have all the services that you need, whether it's new construction, tear-offs, replacements, or re-roofs for your residential or commercial business. They'll provide a detailed service in a timely and professional manner. So you can give them a call for a free consultation at 609-792-5103. Send them an email at martinoroofing@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.martinoroofingllc.com. The number again is 609-792-5103. Martino Roofing.
This is Tom Arnone, owner and founder of A2DRadio.com. What if I told you I knew the best caterer in the business? Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's Obie's Catering. You can contact Obie's Catering at cateringbyobie@yahoo.com or give Chris O'Brien a call at 856-534-8410. From graduations to wedding rehearsals to just if you need food cooked in your house. He'll do it all. He's trying to change the world one dish at a time. That's Obie's Catering. Chris O'Brien, 856-534-8410. Tell him Tommy A from A2DRadio.com sent you, and you'll get 20% off.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
You're listening to The Rundown, only on A2DRadio.com.
This is the Rundown on A2DRadio.com, and hey, if you're a baseball player, you should run on down to Scanzano Sports Center at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. 35,000 square foot hitting facilities out there. John Scanzano runs it. It's located on the campus of King's Christian High School. You can call him at 856-889-3434 and visit their website, scanzanosports.com. You like what I did there? Little play on words. I didn't feel like I got enough credit for that. I'm kind of upset about this.
Oh, well done. Well done. Well done. Hello. Well,
Watch it now. You better watch yourself. You better watch. Don't take my material. You better watch yourself.
That sounds better coming from you anyway, buddy.
Well, no comment. Lovie Smith, we want him as the head coach of the Eagles.
Well, you guys want
According, okay. Let me. If he was hired as head coach, would you be mad?
No.
You would like it if he was hired as. So
Yes.
I mean, you want him as head coach too.
I want a winner.
You're going to have a better defense, I can tell you that.
Maybe you want somebody else a little bit, but you overall, if Lovie Smith, if the report was Lovie Smith will be named new Eagles head coach in the next 3 days rather than Doug Peterson,
I'll be happy.
You would have been happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's what I think the overall consensus among an Eagles fan base would be. We'd be ecstatic if Lovie Smith.
The reason why he hasn't even. I don't know why he's not even in Philly right now.
You won't have Billy Davis style defense no more.
And that's a good point.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, right. Because
I like Billy Davis.
Wait, is it
Yeah.
that same
Yeah,
defense
you're being
that gave
sarcastic.
up 45 to the Bucks and Lions?
Shit. Just run slants on the Eagles defense. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
I like
Seriously.
Butch Davis.
Just run slants. Yeah, Butch
Davis. When we first hired Billy Davis, that's honestly who I was like, oh, Butch Davis. I was like, that's how he used to coach Miami. Then he was with Cleveland. I was like, oh, Billy Davis. Like, who the hell is Billy Davis? Like, really? It's like Billy Davis.
Yeah, I work with a guy. His name's Bill Davis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I went to school with somebody named Billy Davis. Like, well, I was like, yeah, come on, dude. Like, you're not my defensive coordinator.
Yeah, we got to stop going against these clowns from Cleveland. I mean, look, you look at. I know. Listen, Bill Davis. We have a really good defensive coordinator from Cleveland. Let's go pick him up.
I've got a funny. I used to have a friend. He used to say, he said, when I tell Cleveland Browns fans, he said. And this like sums up that whole fan base for me. How in the hell can you cheer for a team that's named after the color of shit?
Yeah.
Really, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Like they're named the Cleveland Browns. They're named after.
They had the worst uniforms too. By the way.
Shit brown.
They had the worst uniforms.
We're named after our team founder, who's also a traitor and now happens to own the Cincinnati Bengals franchise. So this is just everything about that franchise has been a mess from the beginning. Your initial owner jumped ship and became the biggest traitor in the history of traitors and went Benedict Arnold and now owns the Bengals franchise. The Brown family owns the Bengals franchise, and that was the original Brown family that owned the Cleveland Browns.
They have a statue of LeBron James. That's all that you need to know in Cleveland.
Listen, they make fun of us for having a statue of Rocky, so I mean, at least they've got a statue of a real athlete.
Yeah,
you know what
true.
I mean?
Every corner.
Even though, did you hear what LeBron said about Philadelphia the other day? He said we have the best fans.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He loves our fans.
Yeah, probably because they harass the shit out of him.
Yeah, we're gonna get. Well, don't worry, guys. We'll get him when he's 40.
Yeah.
Get him when he's 40.
40 coming off of ACL.
Hey,
40 coming off of ACL. LeBron James.
Hang
the
on,
Sixers.
you bring up a good point. When's Bron a free agent?
Since when did we start talking about LeBron?
Well, first of all, LeBron James redid his contract, but he's doing one-year deals, all because he's opting it because he's getting more money. So LeBron James is going to just say happens he gets $26 million per year. But LeBron James can go and opt out of it and say, you know what, they're not giving me what I want. I'm going to go test the Oregon. So basically any year.
The salary cap is going up in the NBA, and that's ultimately what he's waiting for. Once the salary cap goes up, he's going to sign his long-term deal and become like the most richest, expensive basketball player.
But you know something? You know something? I want the Sixers to keep tanking, to keep getting top draft pick, just like the Pittsburgh Penguins did, and then all of a sudden you just go and you scoop LeBron James up 4 years
I was
from
going to
now.
say, maybe they shove Hinkie out the door in the offseason. Colangelo becomes the GM, and
enough.
Oh boy,
enough.
Oh, come on, stop. We're fancy
yes,
land.
Exactly.
Right, this is fancy land.
That's as bad as Howie Roseman being forced to, Jeffrey Lurie pushing people out the door.
That's like me saying, oh my God, I hope Alex Ovechkin becomes a free agent so the Flyers can get him, or I hope Tom Brady can become free agent so the Eagles.
I know we're fine this guy.
We're getting off topic, so let's get because we're already 30 minutes in. We need to get back to the topics at hand here. Okay, Howie Roseman, his title in this is vice president of football operations or whatever. That's still his official title. Obviously, that can change like that. And the next breaking report could be that Jeffrey Lurie's officially now named him general manager again. But I think as far as the consensus, this round table here, are we all in agreement that the likely favorite to become the GM of the Eagles going forward is Howie Roseman.
Yeah, because he's been.
Can we agree with
that?
that?
I think
I
so.
think
and I don't want it. He's a disease to the Eagles.
According to Jeffrey, I don't think there'll really be a GM. Where what Jeffrey was saying, now, of course, this is through the media, and not everybody tells the truth, of course. I think it'll be Jeffrey, Don Slemensky, and Howie collaboratively making the decision.
See, I don't want that. I want
which
one.
scares the hell out of me because none of them are football guys.
Well, the only thing worse than having one moron in charge is having 3 morons in charge. So,
Thank you.
You know, it's
listen. If that does happen, now you have 2 other people to run through, and if somebody doesn't like it, then you can't do it.
Hold on. I'm going to try to use a little bit of an analogy here, okay? because we'll get back to what we initially. One of the things we talked about before we went to the first break was if Doug Peterson becomes the head coach, is that a move that Lurie's making because he just wants a head coach in here that's obviously going to get along with the Golden Boy, the person he really wants running this franchise, who ultimately is Howie Roseman? And here's now how I feel about that. This is what bothers me about that. If that ultimately is the case, that tells me everything I need to know now about Jeffrey Lurie. He's clearly an idiot too. And when you've got a dumbass who is Lurie, okay, and then you've got a horse's ass who is Roseman, and they're both appointed as captain of the ship, what ends up happening is you get the Titanic, right? And you sail right into an iceberg, you end up sinking, and next thing you know, you're watching Leonardo DiCaprio as he sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and, you know.
Yeah, Peterson, and not for nothing, but Peterson, he has a bad image already coming in.
He does.
I mean, he blew for the Eagles. He has a bad image. I'm just telling you. He has a bad image coming into the city if he's the head coach.
Eagles' next head coach, I want somebody with experience and somebody that's a winner.
But let me.
And they draft well. Too.
Now let me run this idea. Let me spin it to this angle, okay? Because the report I got was Lurie, and maybe this is the reason why Lovie Smith hasn't even been on any list as far as coaching candidates go. Lurie supposedly from the beginning has been looking for an offensive mind. Okay. I get it. We need a good offense. Here's my problem with that. So why the hell does he have to be the head coach? Why can't you hire Lovie Smith as your head coach and Doug Peterson becomes your offensive coordinator? Like, is that hard? The guy's never led anything in his life. The guy's never been a head coach anywhere at any level. Man, I'm not saying that
the Eagles are scaring me.
I hate to tell you this. I'm going to tell you. I'll take Josh McDaniels over
I would too.
Peterson.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
At least
he has. Listen, at least he's behind a greatness right now.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. At least he knows. Okay, New England Patriots play calling.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. At least he can bring that to the table.
Sometimes you can't fall into that trap, though. Some guys are just made to be coordinators, and they're great at that. But when you step into the head coaching role, keep in mind,
a lot different.
Now all of a sudden you have the whole pie to take care of instead of just your
And that's what
slice.
Peterson is.
We got to take a quick break for station identification. We'll pick this up on the other side.
You're listening to A2D Radio. A2D Radio. A2D Radio. At A2DRadio.com.
This is the rundown on A2DRadio.com. We're continuing this Lovie Smith conversation. First of all, this is obviously all kind of fantasy because of the reports we're now getting. It seems like Peterson's going to be hired. He was already one of the favorites. Mm-hmm. And as we've mentioned multiple times, now Lovie Smith he's never been brought in for an interview. Never was a report mentioned that he was going to be interviewed. I don't even know if he's on our head coaching list, but the point is he should be.
How is he not on the list?
Not even McDaniels, too.
Yeah. How is he not on the list, though?
They didn't even mention that. They haven't mentioned that.
Well,
they mentioned that when it first broke.
Yeah. Let's get to that point, Roka. Okay, so let's take it there, okay? Because if that really was Lurie's focus, because what he came out and said, and it was the reason for what we got and what we had reported last week on the show was that Lurie fired Chip when he did because he wanted to get
a head start.
The head start on all these young, hot, fresh coordinators out there. You could have fooled me because Adam Gase is now out in Miami.
Oh, well, I didn't want him anyway.
Darryl Bevel, if we're talking about hot young coordinators, that's the guy that's been running the Seattle Seahawks offense since Russell Wilson got there. I would think he'd be on the top of anybody's list of hot young offensive coordinator candidates.
Well, it's the same dope who decided to pass on 4th and 1 when you had Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, but it shouldn't even got to that point.
Well,
that was another
listen,
David Tyree moment.
And as Carol put out, first of all, that was a sequence of plays that was put in. That's how they ran that sequence. You had 3 sequence of plays: a run, a pass, a run.
Yeah, but
So
don't throw a slant,
I put
a slant in the middle of the
I
end zone.
put that more on Wilson because Wilson has the ability from the 1 yard line to sit there and audible, and he didn't check out.
And it was first down.
And it's first down. If Russell Wilson's the great quarterback we all say is, check out and know what.
You're right. It was first and 1. First and
right,
goal.
you're first to go on like the 2 yard line.
That makes it even worse.
You know, or second and goal, whatever it was. But you've got the ability to check out and go to something better.
Honestly, I don't think Lurie knows what he's doing. I don't
well,
think he doesn't.
See, and that's what I'm getting.
Listen,
100% ding, ding, ding. I think you hit it on the head.
I sat here with you guys, and when Chip got fired, I said the Eagles are going to take a big step back, and that's what the Eagles are doing. They're taking a big step back, a big one.
Who knows? I hope you're wrong, but I'll tell you what, I am very nervous. Let's not forget. What we used to give Lurie credit for was he let the football people make the football moves and make all the football decisions, and he stayed the hell out of the way. Look at Jerry Jones in Dallas, who has to be in the middle of everything, and he hasn't won a damn thing in 20 years, right? He hasn't won a damn thing since the 95
But keep
season.
in mind, there's 2 seasons since Jeffrey Lurie's been the owner that he went out and he became the New York Yankees. In 2004, I know you're not a big freak fan, Javon Curse, and you mentioned that last week, but he still went out there and took the initiative. Let's pick up a free agent. Let's pick up Terrell Owens. You know what I mean? He went shopping.
Terrell Owens was the big
All right,
move,
and then we go 2011, we're going to go sign Nnamdi Asomugha. We're going to go, you know what I mean? We're going to go Jason Babin. We're going to go
Dream Team.
Yeah, exactly. Vince Young.
Listen, I'll go.
You know what I mean?
John Runyon was a bigger sign than Javon Curse. You know what I mean? You're bringing in a guy like a John Runyon.
I know.
You know, Curse ended up being a bust here, and we just happened to have a good enough team around him where it didn't end up really affecting us.
But the point I'm saying is he tried, as an owner, he tried to go out and buy championships, and it fell on his face.
We got to get to 2 more breaks, so let's take one right here. We'll pick this up on the other side of it, and then we'll finish this up and move into our transitioning into relocation and the college football playoffs and all that going forward.
Real quick, I know we're down on Peterson, right? Who knows? He could become the head coach and he could be great. Who the hell knows? We didn't know what we were getting with Andy. But what Andy Reid disciple has done anything as a head coach in the NFL?
That's perfect.
Look at Brad Childress.
Because that's why I wanted to take it as we came out of the break. So that's a perfect segue, Noah. We're going to pick it up from that side of the conversation when we come back. This is the Rundown on A2DRadio.com, brought to you by the Legends Tap, the best pizza this side of the Delaware, 318 High Street, Burlington, New Jersey, 609-386-3001.
You're listening to the worldwide leader of real talk, A2DRadio.com.
This is Tom Arnone, owner and operator of A2DRadio.com and host of Agree to Disagree. If I want to go check out a ball game, there's no better place than the Philly Sports Bar located 31 South Black Horse Pike in Runnymede, New Jersey. With over 40 plasma and HD TVs, a brick oven, a 2-story deck, the sports bar has surpassed everyone's expectations. From the one-of-a-kind sports memorabilia to life-size sports figures, the bar stays true to its name. The Philly Sports Bar will provide quality service along with outstanding variety of the finest liquors and well-known beers in a family-friendly environment while remaining true to what they are, the best darn sports bar. That's the Philly Sports Bar, located in Runnymede, New Jersey.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey guys, Rob Hovia here from Fantasy Dominance Now and the Hockey Happy Hour with a quick question. Are you in need of a professional home improvement? Then contact Harry's Contracting, 609-638-6336. That's 609-638-6336. No job too big, no job too small. The owner, Harry Ernst, is a fully licensed general contractor. Tile work, bathroom and kitchen remodeling, and just about everything else. No matter what you need, Harry will leave your home looking as beautiful as ever. Harry's Contracting offers free estimates, and if you mention A2D Radio during the estimate, Harry will give you 15% off the quote. Give him the job, tack on another 5% for a total of 20% savings off his already insane low prices. So contact Harry's Contracting today, 609-638-6336, or email harryscontractimprovements@gmail.com. Harry's Contracting, insane home improvements.
The Rundown, only on A2DRadio.com.
This is the Rundown on A2DRadio.com. Jesus, Matt, that was the longest commercial in the history of commercials. I feel like we had a whole weekend full of conversation over here before we came back.
Agreed.
For goodness sake. Brought to you by Martino Roofings, with more than 15 years of roofing experience, proudly serving Seoul, New Jersey, as well as Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the entire South Jersey area. Give them a call at 609-792-5103. Email martinoroofing@comcast.net. Visit the website, martinoroofingllc.com. And we bring our conversation back to the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to try to move on from Lovie Smith because we've, obviously we've got enough out there on that subject. We all know how we feel about that. I think we're now moved on to more of this Howie Roseman, general manager, front office type of, talk where we all are kind of in agreement. I kind of used the Titanic analogy before, that you've got now you've got Lurie, who's a dumbass and just unaware, and you've got, Roseman, who's a complete, horse's ass that can't get along with anybody, that, since the moment he walked into the NovaCare complex back in 2009 or whatever it was, and now they're both at the head of the ship. And, Ralph, you brought up a good point right before we went to break, and Noah brought up a great point as well. Jeffrey Lurie is now really, really, for me, I'm starting to question his ability.
I don't think
to lead this franchise.
He doesn't know what he doesn't know what he's doing, and honestly, I think he's listening to all the fans. I think he's listening to all the people outside the Eagles organization.
We made that joke when he fired Kelly, but he's clearly not listening to the fans now because Doug Peterson's going to be our next head coach. So he doesn't. I don't even know if he knows who the hell we are.
And let me ask you guys a question: was Marcus Smith Howie Roseman?
I think so.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
I mean,
well, that's a big time. Well, that's a big
Smith.
time downfall. Now listen. Now let me comment on that. It's a big time downfall. What happens all of a sudden? Marcus Smith all of a sudden starts picking his game up and actually is a first-round draft. I'm saying later on, a couple years later.
Well, if anybody could do it, Lovie Smith could.
But I'm just saying, what if? But he played. Did you see him that last game? I know the Giants suck. The Giants suck. Let's be honest. But did you see he looked like he was a
How
friggin'
smart
monster.
would it be if Jeffrey Lurie just went not offense this time, but actually went defense? Because we all know he's an offensive. He wants an offensive head coach all the time.
Well, defense wins championships. Defense wins championships.
Yes,
though,
and it's known, and it's a fact that defense wins championship. Why don't you take a shot and get Lovie Smith?
this is what I like about your point and what you're working here with the Lurie thing. And I think Noah, this is what Noah was trying to get at a little bit is before we went to the break. And this is kind of how I feel with it. I think what Lurie's trying to do now, he looks at those 14 years of stability that he had with Andy Reid and all that success. And then he went and hired a guy like a Chip Kelly and kind of went outside the box. And in his mind, it was an absolute, total, complete disaster. So now he's going back to the only thing he ever has known as an owner in the NFL. Andy Reid was the first, he hired Ray Rhodes, but Andy Reid was the guy that initially gave Jeffrey Lurie stability as an NFL owner. The guy that made him feel confident and competent as an owner in this league. 14 years of nothing but winning.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson's going to make you feel confident?
11 playoff.
I think Lurie honestly feels, listen, what I need to do, I need to go back to my comfort zone. The last time I was comfortable as the owner of this team is when Andy Reid was here with all of his guys. And therefore, now he wants to go after an Andy Reid guy because he feels like, all right, now I'm going to get back to that comfort zone, that comfortability factor. And that's where Doug Peterson's now entering the picture. And the reason it's Peterson rather than a guy like a Sean McDermott or maybe a Steve Spagnuolo is because Peterson's going to be the guy that can get along with the Golden Boy, Howie Roseman.
Just because they have the same agents as well.
That's honestly what I think. That's my whole conspiracy theory. And I think you were kind of onto that. And Noah, correct me if I'm wrong, was that kind of not what you were getting at?
Yeah, well, look at what I was saying. Look at some of the yes, I know Andy provided a lot of stability for this organization. And for the most part, those were, by and large, 14 successful seasons, minus a few seasons that were down years. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know in the first season, he missed the playoffs.
And that's because Doug Peterson started half the season.
Right.
Just saying.
It comes back to that, yeah.
So in 99, in 05, in 07, and in
the final two disaster years.
In 11
and 12.
And 12.
Yes.
So look at it this way. 9 of the 14 seasons, he made the postseason. That's stability.
Five NFC championships.
11 playoff wins.
And listen,
and a Super Bowl.
We sit here and, listen, we've been through this a million times. I put, we all, Andy had Palms management. Maybe he cost us some games, but there's other things that went into us losing 4 of those 5 NFC championship games than just Andy being the head coach and just Donovan being the quarterback because I've been critical of Donovan too, but there's the people out there that want to put all the blame on either one of them. There was more that went into it than just either one of them.
The one where we lost to Carolina, it was that simple. We got beat up on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And Todd Pinkston dropped God knows how many passes and then says after the game, I just wasn't focused. Really? For an NFC championship game, you weren't focused?
That game, that's one of those where I put that a little bit.
But I digress.
We just got a comment on our Facebook page from Sean's buddy John Brenner saying we need to have a little bit more of a side talk about the Doug Peterson and how he could be good side. Here's my answer to that, Mr. Brenner. And no offense, love your input.
And he could
listen
be.
all the time,
knows?
And he could be. We'll leave that for some other show here on A2DRadio.com because I'm not going to sit here and play this game and act like I think Doug Peterson's going to be a successful head coach. Put your money where your mouth is, Doug, because until I see anything, I'm not going to sit here and play that side of this argument because you've got no clout to make me think that's the case.
And you had a good input. Doug Peterson's not. We all know he's not calling the plays over in KC.
He's not even running the offense over there.
Right. Andy's calling the plays.
Andy's running the entire offense.
Yeah.
And the people that want to say he's at least made Alex Smith now into, a top half, went from a bum to at least a manageable quarterback.
That's what they said about Adam Gase,
I think that's more about Andy than
guys.
Than
they said
Peterson.
that about Adam Gase and the Dolphins.
It's scary though, but they don't even have Jamal Charles.
Right, and that's all
crazy.
That's all well and good. What this Kansas City team reminds me of is the real early Andy Reid teams that won with great defense and great special teams.
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
Defense wins championships.
Thank you. Their offense in Kansas City.
That was the reason. The offense in Kansas City was the reason they started 1-5.
Oh, and by the way, I got something with Kansas City. Last year, they didn't have a wide receiver to catch a touchdown pass.
Thank you.
Jeremy Maclin just got voted the best hands in the National Football League. He dropped 2 passes this year, fellas.
Yeah.
And look, I regret saying, okay, the Eagles didn't, sign him for $11 million and they weren't going to pay him as number 1 wide receiver. But the guy dropped 2 passes this year.
I do remember being on the record.
Meanwhile, Jordan Matthews dropped 2 per game.
Dropped 200. But I do remember around draft time, I was on the record as saying, listen, I was with you. I didn't want us to pay Macklin. They completely overpaid him out there. But I do remember when we drafted Aguilar saying, well, hell, if we're drafting Nelson Aguilar because he's going to be the next Jeremy Macklin, what the hell? Just give me back Jeremy Macklin then. What the hell do I want Nelson Aguilar? Because in 3 years he could be Jeremy Macklin.
Because it's cheaper. They weighed the same. They ran the same 40. But what it comes down to, he's a lot cheaper.
Except he's Nelson Aguilar, not Jeremy Macklin.
Exactly.
And he'll never be Jeremy Macklin.
And Jordan Matthews said about that he had nobody to tutor him through the whole season.
We've got to take one more break.
He's Jerry Rice's cousin.
Real quick, Aguilar's been disappointing, but I'm not losing hope on him.
Seriously.
I still think he can be productive.
Seriously, I'm not kidding.
Sean might have just made the greatest point
ever. I swear to God, he's Jerry Rice's cousin.
Jordan Matthews is Jerry Rice's cousin. And for Jordan Matthews to make the comment that he's got nobody to tutor him or look up to him, and he's now the veteran receiver that everybody's coming to.
Seriously, dude.
Go see Uncle Jerry.
In the offseason, they actually run routes together.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube. You'll see it.
Go see Uncle Jerry. Speaking of Uncle Jerry, I've completely
greatest wide receiver.
We've just lost our damn mind.
Uncle Jerry at the Chamonix got his teaching job back. Well done.
And Uncle Jerry's world out in Dallas. We've got to take a break. Final break here on the Rundown on A2DRadio.com. We've lost complete control of this. It's brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, certified public accountants. You're located on 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, Pennsylvania. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Oh, the shenanigans are real.
Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real talk, A2DRadio.com.
This is Ted, your dude with the tunes from A to Z Classic Rock. When I'm hungry and in the mood for pizza or killer sandwich, I head to Legends Tap, located at 318 High Street in Burlington, New Jersey. Pleasant atmosphere, delicious pizza, kickin' sandwiches, great iced tea, soda, or if you prefer an adult beverage, they have that also. 318 High Street, Burlington, New Jersey, Legends Tap, the best pizza this side of the Delaware.
Hey, if you're interested in buying, selling, or renting a house, call Kingsgate Realty at 856-931-1200. Ask for Patrick Bokikio or visit their website at kingsgatere.com, located at 57 West Kings Highway, Mount Ephraim, New Jersey.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet, located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. With over 40 years of customer experience giving the latest in uniforms and equipment to sports enthusiasts of baseball, softball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and much more. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or send them an email at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit their website at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all of your sporting needs.
The Rundown, only on A2DRadio.com.
This is the Rundown on A2DRadio.com. We're going to move on from all this Eagles talk and go to the college football playoff. Clemson and Alabama in the national championship game. And Ralph, I predicted Clemson. You asked me 3 weeks ago who I thought was going to win before the playoff season got going. I thought Clemson was going to win.
Deshaun Watson, first of all, balled out that game. Balled out.
Let me ask both Noah, Sean, because you guys are going to remember this game very well. I was young. I was 12, but I remember it. Ralph, I'm sure you remember it.
Yeah.
Did Deshaun Watson's performance for Clemson bring back an eerie Vince Young performance for Texas against USC in the national title.
What was
I
it?
was watching Deshaun Watson.
Was it the 2-point conversion when he ran it to the corner? I was like, oh, wow, it looks like Vince Young.
How about the pump fake? Watson, remember the one play? We're all going to remember the play I'm talking about. He full-fledged it was a full-fledged pass. His hands must be so big. He pump faked after having the ball all the way, held onto it somehow, and took off with it and ran 25 yards for a first down. And I just remember losing my mind. I fell off the recliner in my living room and was just like, this kid. Like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, this is why I thought Clemson was going to win. Because I knew Watson was a superstar. And this kid, I mean, I thought he was a superstar beforehand. This kid's going to be an absolute star.
He's going to be the Eagles' next quarterback.
A legend was born in that national championship game.
You watch.
But I thought Clemson all around as a team was a really, really complete program that could compete with Alabama as a team. Yep. And as we kind of saw, it was the Deshaun Watson show for Clemson.
Yeah.
478 yards by himself, and then literally he gets no help from anybody else offensively. Got nothing.
Best believe Clemson's getting back to that.
We're drafting him. Yeah, we're drafting him next year.
Dude, Clemson,
not this draft.
Clemson's going to become a powerhouse.
You think so?
Yes.
Clemson could become Florida State, Miami from early on. And like when Bobby Bowden was at Florida State, when Miami was winning national championships in the early 2000s, and when Butch Davis was building like that's what Clemson could be, especially in a conference like the ACC.
Well, take Miami out of it. I'll be honest; they're nothing more than a mediocre program.
No, but
I'm
talking about.
I mean, in the ACC, when you talk about two top programs, you talk about Florida State, Clemson.
But you're missing.
That's it.
But Miami historically is known.
No doubt. No, I hear you.
Clemson can get to that level as a program where you're looking at them the way we viewed programs like Florida State and Miami back in the day from a prestige standpoint.
And listen here, Derrick Henry's. I don't think he's going to be anything in the NFL. I think he's the next. I think he's the next Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson.
But here's the thing, fellas.
I couldn't disagree more.
Will Watson be the next Vince Young?
No.
Let's not forget.
I hope not.
Here's the main difference. Here's the main difference between Henry and Richardson. Have you heard Derrick Henry talk? The kid's educated. The kid's smart. The kid's a leader. Yeah. The kid gets it. He's a smart football player. Not only is he 6'3" and 240 pounds, yet he can run like he's C.J. Spiller, but the kid understands this side of the game. Okay? Trent Richardson was somebody that came into the NFL playing off of all talent, and we learned once he got to Cleveland that the kid was so stupid and didn't have a high enough football IQ to even understand when there was a wide open hole, a gaping hole directly in front of him that you're supposed to run through it. Yeah. And he tried to run side. Like, the kid he doesn't understand how to play the position. Henry's a kid that gets that side of it. He understands where that open hole is. So, I mean, listen, anybody can be a bust. You know what I mean?
Anybody
can be that guy. We thought,
where do you think he's going in the draft?
Well, listen, I'm one of those people that I'm in the belief that unless you're Todd Gurley, Trent Richardson ruined running backs being first-round picks. You know what I'm saying? You don't get drafted in the first round as a running back unless you're Adrian Peterson, unless you're Todd Gurley. So I could see him being the first running back off the board, but maybe the 32nd, 33rd, 34th, 35th pick, somewhere in that area. I just don't think somebody's going to pick him in the first round. Just running back's not a position that's
you never know
that in the NFL anymore. It's a
never
passing
know.
league.
I don't know, man. We got a running back on the Eagles right now. That was a first-round draft pick.
Different era, though.
I know. Well, 2010, yeah.
But that was still when you were drafting running backs in the first round.
Right.
That transitional period was kind of happening.
Yeah, I think Derrick Henry goes second round.
Yeah,
I think he does.
That would be my
late
thought,
first, second round.
Look what happened with Melvin Gordon. The Chargers now go stretch and reach all the way up to the top 10 pick to try to get a guy like Melvin Gordon, and he stinks.
And that was number 20. And that was number 24's replacement too.
Right, let's go around the room real quick. Give me your top 3 Eagles needs by position.
Quarterback.
Well, of course.
Big one right now is quarterback. We don't even know if Sam Bradford.
I
want to
keep him. I want to keep him.
Well, but I think
there's no one else out there.
I think for Bradford, I think it's going to be depends on who the coach is going to be.
Oh,
whoever
we already
the coach
said
is going to be.
Yeah.
This is why I don't like the Peterson. This is why I was hire Lovie Smith, keep Pat Shurmur as your offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah.
And now everything's solved. Bradford's your quarterback. It's
bingo.
He's got the same system.
Sign Bradford. Listen, sign Bradford for about 3
years.
Well,
2 years.
we're with an option 2 with a 3-year option.
Is he going to accept the 3-year deal? Because the guy they're talking about his agent's talking about him getting 5 years at $18 million.
Where is he going to get that at? Houston?
Anywhere.
Houston, probably, right?
Any place that needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien.
But next year, if the Eagles are bad, you're gonna have Watson jerseys, fellas, all yous.
I think Andy Reid will pay him all types of money to come out to Kansas
Watson
City.
jerseys.
Let me ask you something. Is Sam Bradford an upgrade from Alex Smith? And if you say no, I might slap you.
No, I'm going to go Sam Bradford all the way.
Exactly.
Sam Bradford, listen, at the end of the season, did you see how he played?
Andy Reid, I think Andy Reid will pay Sam Bradford all day to come play out there.
He was out of the league for 2 years.
Sam Bradford found his touch that New England game.
He was, and he
and that's when you
and he was out for 3 games.
Yeah.
If our receivers would have caught the ball, he would have thrown for over 5,000 yards.
Listen, he was out for 3 games,
because
fellas.
Noah, you made a good point with that, but I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of that and kind of change it a little bit, okay? Because we had this conversation after we went off the air last week. We've got the 13th overall pick in the draft.
Yes.
I talked about. I've got 2 players that I'm pinpointing.
Go ahead.
Jalen Smith, the linebacker out of Notre Dame, that tore his knee up in the bowl game, who's considered the 3rd overall prospect in the draft. If he drops to 13, I'm taking him all day.
But we have so much depth though. I mentioned
hold on,
it.
but
more depth is never bad.
We need corners. We need freaking. I'm down.
You're right.
Oh my.
You're right.
We need wide
Hold
receivers.
Hold on though. You're right. But remember what we talked about. We're picking 13th overall. That's a very gray area. I don't just take a corner that's the 25th overall best prospect in the draft just because I need a corner.
If Jalen Smith is there, I'm taking him.
How about this?
him.
I'm not drafting,
or how about this?
A wide receiver that's the 30th overall prospect, 13.
I got a scenario for you.
I take the best player available.
How about we trade it and we get a couple second-round draft picks?
I don't like that either.
What do you mean? We don't have a second-round draft pick. We need,
Guys, real
we
quick,
need more picks, though.
I'm taking the best player available, and damn it, we better draft an offensive
I hope it's not
lineman
another
in this
Marcus
draft.
Smith.
We need an
I
offensive
hope it's not a Danny.
lineman.
I hope it's not another Danny Watkins or Marcus Smith. We're in trouble, fellas.
No, but Sean, that's why you do what Noah and me are saying, because Danny Watkins wasn't the best player on your board at the time. You drafted for need.
You're
drafted by positional need.
28-year-old fossil, fellas.
You drafted by positional need. This is the rundown on A2DRadio.com. Been a lot of fun. Obviously,
good show, boys. Good show.
Obviously, a lot of stuff that we got to today. Noah Eaton was in the house, so obviously that was a lot of fun. Philly Sports Fix not coming on in its normal time slot, so you're going to have to wait. Tom and Mike Aim in the PM later tonight, their normal time slot at 8:30. We've been brought to you by Romeo's Termite and Pest Control, your local pest control provider, a family-owned and operated business. Call them 856-341-3927. Visit romeospestcontrol.com.